Greetings and welcome to the third season of PLP Pathways. I'm Don Taylor. I teach here at Main Street Middle School in Montpelier, and we'd like to welcome you to this grassroots professional development program designed to help with the implementation of Act 77. I'd like to introduce you to my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Maura Wheeler. I work for the Lamoille South Supervisory Union. And this year, I want to tell you how to keep track of us and our project. You can keep track of us on our site, follow us on Blogger, and keep tabs on the day-to-day use of the program through Twitter.
PLP Pathways is designed by teachers for teachers, and again, we concentrate on Act 77 and the three pillars of personalized learning. The three pillars are the personalized learning plans, proficiency-based learning, and developing flexible pathways for your students. Before we get into today's show, I'd like to thank Orca Media for letting us film in their studios. I'd also like to thank the Middle Grades Collaborative and the Tarrant Institute for their support of our work.
For today's show, we're going to be focusing on the personal learning plan, as that's often where teachers are starting their school year. And we're going to really be focusing on the personal learning framework and also on the identity part of the personal learning plan.
So as the new school year has started and teachers across the state have welcomed new students into their classroom, we urge them to focus on this identity piece. Most middle school teachers throughout their practice are getting to know students, getting to know their strengths and challenges. And the personal learning framework that we've created has identity as the first phase. And in my classroom with identity, we're asking kids to write biographies, we're asking kids to tell us what their strengths and challenges are, and we're introducing a variety of exercises that allow us to get to know the kids while at the same time starting to get a better sense of their proficiencies and how we can help and support them as teachers. The PLP, as you know, Personalized Learning Plan, has been implemented for the last 2 or 3 years as mandated by the state of Vermont. And we use the PLP platform as a way of letting kids express their identity and also as a communication tool for us so that we get to know our students more thoroughly before we really get into the nuts and bolts of the curriculum. And Maura, talk a little bit about how you envision the identity piece of the PLP and why that can be so important for teachers.
I think one of the key pieces of teaching, and it's always been in teaching, is forming relationships with your students and really getting to know your students, both their interests, their strengths, some challenges that they might self-identify. And by building this foundation of starting with the identity process of the personal learning framework, it really allows you to have more meaningful conversations with students down the road and also be able to help students determine where they need to be based on the proficiencies to really move forward. And so by helping to identify those strengths and challenges with students and also set goals, it really allows you as a teacher to be a better guide for the students as they're progressing through the school year. And
I totally agree with that. One of the reasons we created the personal learning framework was to help teachers sort of break out the personalized learning into phases. So the first phase of the personal learning framework is the identity piece. The second phase, which probably covers the majority of the school year, is the growth and reflection, which demonstrates the student's growth and learning through goals set with both the family and the teacher. And finally, the final phase, is the transformation, where students are getting ready for their next life and learning stage. One of the things that makes PLP Pathways unique is our ability to provide resources to teachers across the state. So if you go to the PLP Pathways website and you go to the framework section, you'll see an identity page, and that identity page has lots of resources for teachers who are interested in exploring relationships, exploring community with students, and presenting a variety of academic activities that not only allow you to get to know your students better, but also challenge them to demonstrate their proficiency initially in your class through reading, through writing, and through creative expression. One of the things that I'm doing in my classroom this year is a little bit different. Is we've used a unit that was created by Lori Lisai at Lamoille Union, or Lamoille South.
Lamoille Union.
Lamoille Union. And she's got a great unit called the Geography of Self. And she has kids think about their name, about their community, about their places, and that then is presented using ThingLink, which is a piece of technology. It's just one example of how PLP Pathways can serve as a resource for you as you're beginning to implement personalized learning into your classroom, or if you're also thinking of ways to innovate in terms of what you're already doing in the classroom with students.
I think the real power in that identity page on the site is that there are multiple examples of learning opportunities, and they're created by teachers from all over the state. And now that many teachers have, this is the second or third year that teachers are using this identity phase of the personal learning framework. And so we really have a wealth of resources that have been tested by other teachers, designed by teachers. They've been in front of other students in Vermont, and they've been very successful. And so as you're thinking about working through that identity phase and building relationships with your students, it's a really great place to start your year.
So in addition to providing resources to folks and communicating and sort of connecting the dots between all the players in the personalized learning work that's going on relative to Act 77, this year PLP Pathways is also piloting a professional development program. And in that program, participants who attended the Middle Grades Institute will be conducting action research about their personalized learning implementation. And PLP Pathways is going to support those teachers and determine how effective we can be in their work. So as we move forward with the third season, you can expect to hear us talking about professional development. You can expect to hear us talking about some of the events and some of the organizations that are playing a big role in the successful implementation of Act 77 in classrooms. Please be aware that we have webinars about once a month. Our first webinar is September 28th. These webinars are streamed through our YouTube website. You can watch them live, or you can watch them once they've been recorded and uploaded. And again, that's at PLP Pathways. We hope to hear from you. We look forward to working with you again. We're starting to mature as a professional development organization, and we've really appreciated and enjoyed all the connections we've made and all the movement we've seen as personalized learning really begins to take root across the state. Thanks very much, and we hope to see you online or at one of our webinars. Take care.